Hello again. I want to keep talking about psychometric science. Now, at some point, I'm sure I will get into some of the more fundamental aspects, but my theory is that A, I should be talking about things that are actually interesting to me, so they're interesting to you, and B, that if you were clicking on a video because it has psychometric content, you're already not a novice. You're somebody who has a fundamental understanding and are interested in ideas and observations you've not yet had. And I can be counted upon for that. Insights that are different. So I want to talk about the nature of hierarchy. A great deal of what we consider personality and interpersonal behavior is linked into our relationship with hierarchies. And so I want to define 4 kinds of hierarchies that I have observed that then are themselves the instigator of certain response behaviors among 4 different kinds of social interaction or hierarchical roles or relationships. So the first kind of hierarchy I've noticed is actually, let me change that notion here. 2 categories that each have 2 subcategories, and those 2 categories are credological and purpose-based. Credological, meaning based on an underlying belief. Purpose-based, meaning constructed for a purpose. So at the core, if you're able to dissemble this hierarchy and what it was put in place for, you either have this is a function and a purpose, and we can define it, and we can actually trace all of our values to this purpose, meaning you can analyze and perhaps even improve your hierarchy based on understanding purpose, or you have at the core a belief that this is how it should be. And if that is a good belief, then that is good. But if it is a destructive belief, then what do you have? You have something that cannot be discussed, cannot be analyzed, cannot be improved. So of the 2 kinds of credological hierarchies, there is the theocratic and the self-justifying. Theocratic meaning the values for the hierarchy came from a higher power. It is my belief that the universe is created by the God of the Bible. And that to the extent that you make hierarchies that are based exclusively on how the Bible describes how things should be, you're on the right track. But as humans, we tend to need a better understanding of what's being said. And we tend to add a human credological aspect to how these things are supposed to operate. Now, a self-justifying credological hierarchy is one where the rules and hierarchy are because I said so, and or this exists because it exists. That's the way it's always been. I remember being told in a retail job 20, 25 years ago that the blank rolls downhill. You can guess what blank means, but it was a justification for if somebody 3 layers up the hierarchy was having a bad day and needed to take out some anger on the person under them in the pecking order, then it should be well understood that that person that just got anger taken out on them is going to come to the person beneath them and take it out on them. Why? Because it is that way. Why? Because it always has been that way. There was no attempt at trying to understand it. I have worked, I won't say recently or a long time ago, in another institution where When inventory disappears, you have to categorize it on a machine as to whether it went bad or whether or not it was broken or something. But there's no category for stolen, meaning that things are never stolen. You follow the logic? Things are never stolen because it's not a category. Credologically, it is believed that that's not a reasonable category. You can't say this was stolen. So credologically, the belief is nothing is ever stolen, or you're not allowed to call it a category because it's not there in the system. It doesn't count. So a self-justifying credological hierarchy makes rules that can't be explained, can't be analyzed, can't be traced to a purpose, can't be traced to an infallible source, or traced merely to culture and to feelings. It was proven, sorry, I hate to quote things without a reference point, so there is a CEO in Brazil who quoted a study that said companies that hire managers, specifically middle managers, don't gain any positive result from it. That they generally have a negative or neutral impact on the company's bottom line, meaning that they exist for the emotional needs of those at the top of the hierarchy. Well, I want somebody to watch that money because I don't trust people. Meaning that there's whole existences of hierarchies and layers of hierarchy for the emotional reassurance of owners and highest level executives, which is credological, which is not purpose-based. It can't be traced to an actual fundamental improvement in systems or even the bottom line of the company. It is just, well, from the beginning, those at the top of food chains have been paranoid about those at the bottom of hierarchies. And you need to create a sense of somebody controlling and observing and monitoring, not for a purpose base, not even for a definitely provable credological reason, for purely self-justifying reasons. Of the two purpose-based kinds, you kind of have short-term and you have long-term. Short-term is ergonomic, project-based. That is, we need this thing to happen, we have this project, and we need someone to be able to guide us through the process. We need someone to be able to assign roles so that we can do this efficiently. Division of labor is not a credological idea. Division of labor is a purpose-based idea. Now, when you have a longer-term entity, it becomes something much more like a government, something much like a paramilitary or military structure, which is purpose-based because it always has to justify and explain its goals. It always has to be rooted in, well, we are, in the larger sense, providing this sense of national security. Right? In the smaller sense, we're providing it in this locality. In the smaller sense, we're providing it in this specific region of human interaction. Hope that made any sense at all. Majority of human social interaction occurs in self-justifying credological hierarchies. And that is where the phenomenon of these four kind of social classes occur. So I am going to pause this right here and get right back to the next one. Thank you. If I've blessed you or encouraged you, please bless me by liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful day.